This is the year 2002, part one. This is still dealing with the Outcasts, Drake, Rye, Gino, Jorge, and Rosemarie. This is a Jorge story that I focused on. I went back to using more pencils, but I changed it to marker. If you go back to the last story, to Holiday Earth, that was the last few comic strips were done in just marker. So I made a change from pencil to color pencil to marker, from color pencil and marker to marker. But this is all done on Bristol board. And here we have Jorge eating a bunch of hamburgers. I'll make sure my cursor's on the right place. So he eats all these hamburgers, right? I don't know how many hamburgers he's got. About, I don't know, 20. And he finds an instant winner ticket. And so, Gino's sticking up the house. And Jorge tells Drake that he won a contest. And it's like a contest to own a restaurant. Now, this is the introduction of another character that I created back in 2002. During this time, my father was going through an illness. But the man was abusive, so I felt no emotional connections. But that's all I can really tell you about it. But during this time, I was still working on these stories. And so Jorge wins a contest to own a restaurant, a McGoth's restaurant. It has to be a McGoth brand. Rosemarie complains about dirty boxers, and, she goes after Gino. Oh, before we go to that one, there's a panel missing here. Let me find it. So this is the introduction of Roth McGoth. What is Roth McGoth based on? Ronald McDonald, Krusty the Clown? I would say Ronald McDonald because he has some assistants helping him. He's based more on the 1970s Ronald McDonald, the one that where they ripped off Sid and Marty Krofft's, McDonaldland with the hamburger patches and the apple pie trees and such. So Roth McGoth is like a dark gothic clown, and what was it? The backstory was that his mom was a druid and his dad was a beefeater. And yes, he's British in nature. So Roth McGoth would be about 4 feet tall, not a very tall person. And so he's just a foul-mouthed speaking British gent. And that's the way I thought of him. I thought of Gordon Ramsay as the voice, somebody temperamental, kind of like Oscar Mayer. Remember Oscar Mayer? That's the role I think Peter Dinklage should have, as Oscar Mayer. Guy with a really bad temper. The guy was just always trying to make everything right, but Anyway, let's get on to the next panel. This is Jorge's McGoth's. So I did this all right. I mean, it didn't look too bad for the time I did it. I don't worry too much about proportions. Obviously, this looks pretty wrong on the chain link fence. Whatever. I mean, it wasn't going to be perfect, but I did the best I could. This is based on just the typical homies cholo, So they're having a conversation. He's talking shit. Jorge grabs him by the throat because he's not having any more of that. And we go to the next fucking panel. And let's see. So this is George's, a McGoth's division. Actually, yeah, so it's a McGoth's restaurant that Roth McGoth owns. But George owns the restaurant. So, what is this? Oh, someone took a shit in the trash can. And so I don't know what he's doing. Oh, he's making him eat his own shit. Oh, yeah, This was vulgar humor, okay? But this is stuff I did. How old was I then? I was going to be 24 years old. Jorge gets his own hot tub to be installed at his own restaurant. And, so they say, oh, okay, how are we going to make burgers? So he says, you take one of the rats and you find it here and you just chop them up and then you make a rat burger. The humor got weirder and weirder. So this is based on cheeseburger. You have to know your your SNL humor, 1970s humor. Um, Jorge ate a lot of the inventory. And this is the one where it gets a little serious. These two guys who have no business doing anything, they put, what is it? Mad cow patties, and they're shipping them out. They see the mad cow disease. Jorge eats the hamburger and goes fucking nuts. This is all done now in marker so I got rid of the colored pencils for a bit and then did it in marker. Jorge goes loose. Yeah, so he smashes that cholo through the wall. He starts smashing people. Drake and Rye come in to see how he's doing. God, this art's horrible, but whatever. So Jorge's got them both, and he's lost his fucking mind. Rye has a taser ring. So it's a ring with the taser, electricity, whatever. He's got to get to the lab. Rye is always going to be doing this. Jorge's lost his mind. So, you know, they stick together. They're a family, whatever. And, I don't know, the drama felt forced. There was nothing to really instigate it. Let's see. Yeah, so this is Roth McGoth's exit. Ooh. So Roth McGoth gets his restaurant back, and they got hamburgers at the end. Everybody gets hamburgers. So I introduced Roth McGoth. He's definitely in my newer stories, my newer books. It's not officially published, but if anybody wants a copy of my book, you know, I've got Twitter. You know what to do. You're not deaf, dumb, and blind. You can ask me for one. The only time I'll ever charge anybody for a copy of my work is if they want a physical copy in full color. Then I would have to charge you, but that's it. So tomorrow I'll cover story number, let me see, that would be story number 6. This is story number 5. Story number 6 is tomorrow. It's a Rosemary story. Signing out. Be kind, be cruel, but be yourselves.